Villeneuve retains the front position with a time gave him about 92 mile an hour average. 9 drivers broke the record that Tony Bryce set 5 years ago with the Formula 5000 car on a somewhat different course. Ferrari has been on the pole for every Formula 1 race, 4 in a row. Let's go to Dan Gurney standing by for the start of the Long Beach Grand Prix.
Ken, I'm here at the start line. It's very, very noisy. It's about to begin. One of the questions is, do these men have fear? And I say, yes, they do, but it's not a paralyzing fear. It's a fear that they've become familiar with, and right now they're closing a cocoon of concentration around themselves because, above all, today they're here to race, and that's what they'll be doing in just a moment.
Ferraris are away. Look at them, dicing, slipping through, looking for positions as the race gets underway. The field is away. Here they come with the Ferrari side by side. Scheckter and Villeneuve as they head for the Queen's hairpin. Still wheel to wheel. Who will give? Oh, trouble in the turn. One car crashing hard. It looks like one of the Williams cars. No, it is one of the McLarens, number 8. That's Patrick Tambay, climbing out of his automobile. Patrick Tambay of France in one of the Teddy Mayer McLarens has crashed at the Queen's hairpin. Let's look again at the start as the field moves around. There are the Ferraris running side by side. Villeneuve getting the advantage on the inside. Then the field rolling through the hairpin. Trouble back here. In the back of the pack, you can see the car almost over. Bouncing. Tambay down. And the McLaren M28. One of the heavier cars, one of the bigger of the Formula 1 cars, in serious trouble. Eliminated in less than a lap. Brett?
It looked as if the car of Tambay seemed to touch either Niki Lauda's car or it might have been Nelson Piquet. I haven't gotten a clear view of that.
Meanwhile, as they come around, we have Villeneuve in front. Depailler is running in second. Scheckter is running in third. Here they are back on the Shoreline Drive, and in these 1,500-pound cars about to go to 170, near 180 miles per hour another time, up into high gear, fifth, sometimes a sixth gear on these automobiles.
That's right, Ken. Since the last couple of years, we've been seeing more and more of the 6-speed come into play. It's good on a tight circuit like this.
Back to the Queen's hairpin. Villeneuve in front, Depailler in second. Look at this battle in back there as Carlos Reutemann makes some moves and tries to move through. Front 3 tight together.
Carlos is going to have to charge right from the beginning, Ken.
We have one car in trouble and slowing down. Trying to get a number for you in a moment. We'll review the field as they come by to complete the second lap at our position. Notice the Ferrari in the lead, coming up onto Ocean Boulevard. And it is Villeneuve in front, the Ligiers in second. Then it's Scheckter in third. And running in fourth is Jarier. Jarier is now the fourth place automobile. Let's go to Brock Yates in the pits.
Ken, I've just received word from Bertie Martin, who's the chief steward of this event, that the Ferraris could be in trouble. Not on the racetrack, but amongst the rules committee. There is now going on a meeting to decide whether or not both Ferraris, Villeneuve's car and Scheckter's car, will be penalized for that start that caused all the problems earlier in the going. So the controversy is far from over down here.
Jan Lammers' automobile, the shadow driver out of Holland, has just pulled on pit road with a flat tire and a bent wing. He was in that shunt with Patrick Tambay, and car number 20, James Hunt, is reported down on course. Here's the field, meandering through to complete the third lap. Working in the Queen's hairpin another time. Brett?
It wouldn't surprise me if Jan Lammers had, in fact, had a tire deflate and put himself into the wall with that. It looked, when we saw him come into the pits, that was the problem.
Hunt coming very slowly in the Wolf automobile onto pit road. James Hunt bringing in number 20. Meanwhile, Villeneuve is in front. Second place automobile, Depailler. Then comes Scheckter in third. Mario Andretti is up to fifth. Mario Andretti is up to fifth behind one of the Tyrrell automobiles. There you see the automobiles in the lead. And there's the first place car. Gilles Villeneuve still in front. He won his first Grand Prix in Montreal last year on a marvelous course. Give those folks in Quebec tremendous credit for the course they built. And he won right there, not only in his own country, but in his own La Belle Provence.
It had to be a big day for him. He had certainly a shaky start with Ferrari, but to win on your home circuit in front of your home crowd has got to mean a lot to you.
As they're running now, he stays in front by about 5 car lengths, back to full speed. Notice how the wing has been advanced on the car, the Ferrari T4.
Aerodynamics seems to be one of the key ingredients right now, Ken. It's probably an outgrowth of this whole wing concept. We have to appreciate how important the flow of air is over the car.
From the Goodyear Blimp Columbia, you're watching him around the Queen's hairpin, attacking each corner. Right where he crashed a year ago, Villeneuve now in the lead. Question is, politically, will he hold the lead when it's over? Second is still Depailler. Third is Scheckter. Jarier still in fourth. And Mario Andretti back in fifth. Remember when he won this race, he fell back to sixth that year and then came on to win it. Can Andretti do it again today? Now,
Ken, it certainly is the kind of circuit where attrition and where running an intelligent race early on is going to mean a lot to a car's finishing position.
Here's Villeneuve plunging downhill. What does that do to your stomach when you dive over the top of that hill?
It certainly takes it away, Ken. It's like having an elevator drop out from under you. But while that's happening, you're busy trying to keep the car under control and set it up for the next turn.
Jarier in fourth, Mario Andretti in fifth, and then you saw one of the Arrows running in the sixth position. One of the Arrows automobiles, and I believe that was number 30, Jochen Mass's car, or it might have been Patrese. It would be Patrese. Patrese in number 27 has moved up and taken seventh place. Alan Jones dropping back to eighth.
Patrese has always been known for his starts. He's perhaps gotten in trouble a couple of times for it, but he's always been very quick off the start. First couple of laps, he's hot.
Niki Lauda out of the race. Lauda is out. Tambay is also out. And we have a report on a bent wing on Gilles Villeneuve's car number 12. Back to Brock Yates.
We've got James Hunt, who we just talked to a few minutes ago. Obviously, James, the question, what happened? Something in the gearbox?
No, a drive shaft broke, I'm afraid. We had no trouble throughout practice. This is a bit of a difficult circuit for drive shafts, and ended up just complete. Noisy people, wait till they go.
Why all the problems this time? Not so much in the years past. Now, all of a sudden, great drive shaft problems. Sudden, so many drive shaft problems.
That's the first one Why don't they have the good manners to all go past together, for Christ's sake?
Okay. A rather frustrated James Hunt.
The first drive shaft we had. No problems before. No, yeah. You know, I tell you, when it rains, it pours. We had no problem all through practice. But that's the difference in racing. You know, when your luck's going well, they break in practice, and when it's not running for you, you know, you get shut on in the race. C'est la vie.
C'est la vie. James Hunt, back to you, Ken.
James Hunt, who will retire at the end of this year. Many people surprised that Hunt announced this early, that he would. Sometimes when that happens, it almost seems predestined that something will happen to a driver. And certainly with King James, we hope it's a great year, and this is last. Driving for Wolf, car number 20, which is now retired. Meanwhile, out in front, Gilles Villeneuve. This is right where he was leading a year ago. And now you're looking at Villeneuve already getting ready to lap car number 17, Lammers, in one of the shadow automobiles, with the Ligiers running in second place in the Long Beach Grand Prix. 8th lap of the Long Beach Grand Prix, coming to you live, flag-to-flag coverage. You're watching Gilles Villeneuve of Canada in a Ferrari out in front. Second place, Depailler. Then comes the Scheckter car, followed by Jarier, Mario Andretti, and Riccardo Patrese is doing very well with an Arrows car, which is currently in the 6th position. Patrese running in 6th. Reutemann, who started all the way back, is now moving up into 13th position among the 24 that started the race. James Hunt is out. Lauda is out. Patrick Tambay is thus far retired from the event.
In fact, we're seeing an interesting chase right here, Ken. Mario Andretti and Jean-Pierre Jarier ran most of the South African Grand Prix 1-2 just as they're running now. In fact, I think Andretti is chasing Jarier again just as he did in South Africa.
Dan Gurney is standing by at the Queen's hairpin.
I can see on Jody Schechter's car that his right front wing has been damaged in that early lap incident down here. And I did speak with Patrick Tambay briefly. He said that he locked up his front brakes. He felt there was a little bit of sand on the inside of the track. So that's about all I could get from him. Back to you, Ken.
So one of the McLarens is out. Tambay has retired. John 28 automobiles. These cars weigh about 280 pounds more than they weighed yesterday in qualifying, as they're running on full tanks at the present time. And look at this battle. That is Jarier getting underneath Scheckter at the Queen's hairpin. Let's go back to Dan Gurney.
It looked as though Jean-Pierre Jarier caught Jody Scheckter napping there. He just very quietly slipped in front of him.
Jarier driving very well today, Brett.
In fact, Jean-Pierre Jarier has always been quick on this kind of circuit, Ken. He's a road circuit, a city street type circuit driver.
The French drivers always seem to be good on these precise courses. You think about Monaco and you think about Jarier and Depailler where they won.
I think there must be some kind of balance between the fiery determination of a Jean-Pierre Jarier and a precise nature that is required on this kind of a circuit.
So Jarier has now moved into third position and is closing on fellow countryman Patrick Depailler. It is the Ligiers, now Ford Cosworth powered, running in the second position. And there's Jarier making another move on the inside at the second hairpin. Jarier really seems to have the right combination, the torque thrusting him off those corners.
He's certainly making Laffite, that's Depailler. Certainly making Depailler worry at this point.
Here's Depailler, fastest part of the course. We'll be going to Dan Gurney in just a moment. Dropping down to the inside comes Jarier. Dan, take it from there.
Jarier has just done it. He just passed Patrick Depailler going into the Queen's hairpin. And now he's going to set out after the French-Canadian driver.
Incredible run by Jean-Pierre Jarier. Moving all the time. He has yet to win a Grand Prix. Thus far this year he has third in South Africa and really nothing in Argentina and Brazil, but the Tyrrell is running as a big surprise here.
Not only that, Ken, but it's quite a comeback story for Jean-Pierre Jarier. He had been just about out of Grand Prix racing when Colin Chapman called him up, asked him if he wanted to have a run in the Lotus, and that was the beginning of Jean-Pierre Jarier's return. Look at how he's pulling out right now.
Mario Andretti continues to run in the fifth position. Andretti is still in fifth. Reutemann still reported back in the 13th position with car number 2 of the second Lotus on the field. Andretti waiting his time. Look at this battle as Ligiers tries to work on Jody Scheckter in the red Ferrari. The development of these cars here, and now we have one car pitting. One of the Ligiers is pulling on pit road. I believe that was Laffite.
Yes, it was Laffite. For a while, Laffite was chasing Reutemann in their attempt to come up through the pack, but it looks like Laffite has run into some kind of problem.
The battle between 27 and 29 continues, and right now the number 27 of Patrese has taken over in the 6th position, and in the 7th position remains the 29. The 29 has dropped back, and Alan Jones has just moved around him. So that continues to be a very good dice back in the 6th and 7th positions. Here you see the leader once again, Jarier, working on a victory here today. Scheckter has bent the nose on his automobile. Jones has overtaken Patrese. Look at these pictures, and look at Andretti beginning to close some ground. Mario Andretti definitely on the hunt.
Andretti is a shrewd driver. He knows when to save the car, when to make it last the race, Ken, and this is going to be critically important today here at Long Beach.
Jacques Laffite is in the pits. The man who is currently number 1 in the world standings has pitted his car. He won the first 2 races of the year, then crashed in South Africa.
I had a word with Jacques Laffite this morning, Ken. They had transmission problems during the morning warm-up. Running a brand new gearbox, he felt it begin to seize up during the warm-up. They changed it, put in a used gearbox, and apparently he's still having a problem.
Dan Gurney, what effect is the bent nose having on Scheckter's Ferrari when it comes to you at the Queen's hairpin?
Ken, I'm watching Gilles Villeneuve, who was 5.2 seconds in the lead on the last lap. Now, here's Scheckter, and I'm sure it's upset the aerodynamic balance, so it's giving him handling problems, but he certainly seems to be hanging on to Jean-Pierre Jarier.
Andretti running the Lotus 79. The new car will be ready for Spain, the next event on the circuit. And look at Villeneuve. Now, right here, right by our telecast position, our announce booth, I watched him almost throw that car on the wall 3 times yesterday. He went lock to lock and had to get on the brakes to avoid the wall.
Ken, there's probably a difficult portion of the track where Villeneuve is not getting the car to turn in. So what he actually does, he kicks it with the throttle and boots the back end out with the throttle. Quite a piece of driving.
Canada, Gilles Villeneuve leading here today in the Long Beach Grand Prix. Live flag-to-flag coverage on CBS. And we'll return with more live. In 7th, Nelson Piquet of Brazil in the Brabham is running in the 8th position, and running 9th is Clay Regazzoni, while in the 10th position currently is car number 3, Didier Pironi of France. Those are the standings currently, and the advantage for Gilles Villeneuve continues to build up here. Remember, it was a backmarker, Regazzoni, which he ran over last year while leading the event and crashed hard here right at this part of the course.
I don't think you can really blame Gilles. He was leading the race, but he was by no means well clear of everybody else. It was only the 39th lap. He made a judgment in his attempt to overtake Clay, and he was simply not able to carry it off.
There you saw the interval between the first place car and the second and third place automobiles, and the war is on between the second and third place machines. Jarier is being challenged by South Africa's Jody Scheckter. There is a real war for the second position. Meanwhile, Villeneuve continues to pull away. In the pits, Brock Yates has this word.
Ken, just a quickie from Jacques Laffite. He speaks English about as well as I speak French. He just wanted to say, tell them it was the brakes. I don't know whether that means a bad brake or the brakes on the car, but in any case, it was the brakes that put him out. Back to you.
This will really tighten the world standings, no doubt of that. Laffite has retired. 15 laps complete, 65 to go. Back to Barry Gill.
We have news about Carlos Reutemann, last year's winner. He came in to have a left front tire change. But a man who's really angry today is Niki Lauda. He has just told me that Tambay ran into him and went over the top of his car. Back to you, Ken Squire.
The battle on for second place is a dandy. Villeneuve still stays in front, now with a 6.5-second advantage as he thrashes the car about. Villeneuve in front with Jarier. There you see him in second place, and Scheckter has fallen back. Dan Gurney, what's happened?
That's right, Ken. It did look like Scheckter had lost a car length or so, but he's still hanging on, and he's a big clip to that second place. As a matter of interest, I also had on the last lap Mario Andretti 14.7 seconds behind Gilles Villeneuve. What would be interested?
Moving back up once again is Scheckter to challenge on that second place automobile. Scheckter really giving it a run. You just saw that Carlos Reutemann's car has come back on the course. He's running second in the current standings. Villeneuve now 7 seconds ahead. 5'7", about 140 pounds. Gilles Villeneuve driving magnificently today. There he is, letting that car all the way to the wall. Just dances it through there. Here comes your battle for second place. Jarier challenged by Scheckter.
Ken, I think we may be seeing a problem with Jody on the straight with that front wing bend. He probably is not able to get a good draft on Jarier and repass him. The move that Jarier made on Scheckter was a very, very good move.
Car in trouble. That is Mazzario's automobile, his own creation, which started 24th, has said good night. Arturo Mazzario, one of the old veterans of this game, is out of competition. You know, he started with Ferrari. Everybody said that he was going to come along, but nothing really has happened to the Mazzario career.
I think everybody in the circus feels kind of sorry for Art. He really does make an effort. In fact, he qualified in his old car. That was the old car that he had to race. His new car was involved in an accident, and he wasn't able to qualify it. Art, again, has had some bad luck.
Arturo Mazzario, Como, Italy, has retired. Started his racing back in 1972 in the British Grand Prix, then for Team Ferrari. He was a great hill climber, marvelous mountain climber, and drove many of the top races in Europe in that category, which is good competition, and has been extremely quick. 8-second lead now for Gilles Villeneuve pulling out in front. The battle for second place. Let's go back to Dan Gurney.
Ken, I think I should point out that the world champion Mario Andretti is now under 14 seconds behind Gilles Villeneuve. I think you should keep an eye on him. Watch that gap. He's really going fast.
Only 6 cars score points in a world championship race. 9 points for the win, 6 for second, 4 points for third, 3, 2, and 1. So Andretti could pick up a few points today the way the car is running, and a few he needs, because this is a pivotal race in my estimation for Andretti's hopes this year. He has to do pretty well here, or he can kiss off the world title for 1979.
I think it's a question of momentum, Ken. It's very easy for a driver early in the season, if you're behind in the point standings, to get down. But once you get down, it's awfully hard to pick it back up.
Still, Villeneuve stretching his lead. Gilles Villeneuve still well out in front. Here he comes, back by Arnoux's position to the second place cars. You're getting the interval now as they complete the 17th lap. Lap car in between them. That's Reutemann. And here comes Jarier running in second, and right behind him, Jody Scheckter. The battle continues. The best battle on the track is for second place. between Jarier and Jody Scheckter. Villeneuve continuing to throttle away from the field. 8.5-second advantage for Gilles Villeneuve.
And I have to say I'm impressed. To be able to run out in front like this and absolutely walk away from the second place car. Villeneuve is doing one heck of a job. Look at that gap.
Here come the second place competitors for the first hairpin. There you see the Queen Mary in the background here. She's reigning over Long Beach, as she will for the coming years. Now a luxury hotel here in this town. The battle for second place. Look at Jarier going to full song. Let's go to Dan Gurney as that second place battle moves towards him. They're coming around the fastest part of the course, beginning to shift down. Daniel, they're yours.
Gilles looks mighty smooth here. Here's Carlos a lap down, and then followed by Jean-Pierre Jarier. Jody has closed a little bit, and here's Patrick Depailler and Mario Andretti. Of course, I know all the Americans are hoping for Mario, and it's going to be a long race, so I look forward to a few more laps.
18 laps down, 62 laps to go. Look at that battle for second. Jarier and Scheckter thrashing those cars. Scheckter has driven a lot of racing cars, and I think he must be happy to be with Ferrari, Brett.
I think it certainly is a big break in his career. He's been with some very good teams, but of course Ferrari has that history, that prestige with them. He's certainly in a good position to give the World Championship a shot.
He was the enfant terrible there for a while. He's driven for McLaren, for Tyrrell. He had 3 wins for Wolf, of course, and now he's with Ferrari. And here he is getting underneath Jarier. What a good battle that is, and Jarier fends him off another time. Back to the hairpin.
I think we're seeing a situation here with the bent wings not being too much of a handicap in the tight turns, but really hurting him on the straight.
A 9-second advantage for Gilles Villeneuve over Jarier in second place, Jody Scheckter third, Mario Andretti holding on in fifth. We're back once again at Long Beach, California. Headed down Shoreline Drive, some of the field rolling around in the 19th lap of competition. The distance approximately 200 miles today on a 2.02 mile 12-turn course. And there you see the leader continuing to build his advantage. Better than 9 seconds by which Gilles Villeneuve from Quebec, Canada, near Montreal, stays out in front. Started in sports cars up there, took a stab at one stock car race, went back to sports cars. Everyone was surprised when Ferrari named him to the team, but he certainly is carrying on in the Ferrari tradition.
As I said earlier, Ken, a very shaky start for Gilles, but now he seems to have settled down. His race in South Africa was absolutely cool, calm, and collected. He knew where he was, and he knew what he had to do to win the race.
The advantage is 8.5 seconds between the first and second place automobiles.
I wonder if Gilles Villeneuve is starting to look for Clay Regazzoni again. It must be going through his mind that he was leading comfortably last year and then had that problem on the 39th lap.
There's your leader, Villeneuve, headed back to Dan Gurney, and it's about 9 seconds by which he has that advantage as he are about to lap another automobile, one of the McLarens. That's John Watson down by Dan Gurney.
Ken, I think Gilles must have been listening to all his criticism because he looks very, very smooth, very precise. He's really in control at the moment, and the other ones are the ones that look rough. They're really trying hard.
Here he is getting around John Watson.
You saw Watson actually move over knowing that Villeneuve was about to lap him. That was a very sportsmanlike gesture there by John Watson.
The McLaren just not adapting very well to this course at all. Derek Daly is about to be overlapped. Number 22 Daly by some of the back markers. Villeneuve crashing down over the hill another time as you watch our live flag-to-flag coverage of the Long Beach Grand Prix. Ferrari going for another win here. They've won with Regazzoni. They have won with Reutemann. Can they win with the young Canadian Villeneuve today? Back to the hairpin. Villeneuve, very smooth there. Like a skier on a slalom course as he just moves that car so gracefully through. Let's go to Barry Gill in the pits.
I have the World Championship leader here, Jacques Laffite. Jacques, exactly what happened to your car?
First, I have a problem with my gearbox blocked again, and I take the T-car, and I have a problem with the brakes. We have a big problem with bike. I hope Patrick has not.
It must be very frustrating for you as the World Championship leader to be sitting here watching the other guys getting points. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm feel alright because it's 14 race again, and I think it's not finished yet.
And what do you think your chances are for the rest of the year, Jack?
I have always my chance, I hope.
Jack, thank you for talking to us. Back to Ken Squire.
Jacques Laffite, who drove with a taped-up arm today, briefly, led with 18 points in the world standings. Reutemann was second going into today's race with 12. Villeneuve was third. He could really move up the way things are going. Depailler was fourth. Scheckter was fifth. And Mario Andretti was sixth in the world standings. We'll give you more on that later. Emerson Fittipaldi has just retired from the Long Beach Grand Prix. 79 laps here at the Long Beach Grand Prix. CBS flag-to-flag coverage of this World Championship event where Gilles Villeneuve remains in the lead. Villeneuve is in front. There you see him coming up onto Ocean Boulevard another time with Jarier still sustaining the second position, and directly behind Jarier still challenging Jody Scheckter in the third position. Scheckter maintaining third. The fourth spot is Depailler. In fifth is Andretti, who is closing just a bit. Moving up all the time is Mario Andretti. Just inches each time, but he is on the move. Following Mario Andretti in the fifth position, the sixth position belongs to Alan Jones of Australia in a Williams car, while in the seventh position we see Riccardo Patrese, and in the eighth slot would be Didier Pironi, while in ninth is car number 28, Clay Regazzoni. Completing the group in the 10th position is Jochen Maas. Give you a feeling for some of the speed here today. Brett Lunger alongside. I'm Ken Squire, and this is a dandy. Here they are coming for the Queen's hairpin another time. Let's go to Dan Gurney.
Ken, here comes Gilles Villeneuve, but it just looks like it's not Carlos Reutemann's day. He just dropped out just before turn 8, where they disappear from view here.
16 cars still running in the Long Beach Grand Prix, and Villeneuve running the very best, pulling away from traffic. And of course, there is still the question of what will happen after the race because of that rather confusing start.
This is where the politics come into play, Ken. And unfortunately, these guys are really putting out on the circuit. It could very well turn out that the whole result will be turned around after the race is over.
So we're following the lead automobile. Again, your leader coming by, Gilles Villeneuve, swinging off Ocean Boulevard. Let's go back to Brock Yates in the pits.
Ken, the jury is still out as far as the committee is concerned. We've been keeping our eye on the stewards booth down here to find out if any decision has been made about the Ferrari protest or the trouble at the start. Nothing yet. There's some other people down here that are pretty concerned about what's going on, and those are the tire people. As you know, the Goodyear and Michelin people are very much involved in a competition. The lead cars carry Michelin tires. The cars running immediately behind are on Goodyear. I just talked to some of the Goodyear administrators here, and they say that there are troubles. The cars that are understeering, that is, the front ends are pushing through the corners, are using up left front tires. And if Mario Andretti and Jean-Paul Jarier are having that problem, we may see them in for a stop. As far as the Michelins, we don't know, but maybe they'll have some trouble too. So we may see more action than we counted on down here in the pits. Up to you.
Gilles Villeneuve continuing to lead, has the 9-second advantage. Brett?
I think Brock brought up a very good point on this question of tires. I spoke with the team managers of Lotus and Ferrari before the race. The Ferrari has chosen to go on a medium hard compound, while the Lotus people have chosen to go on a very soft compound. It's possible Mario may encounter problems later on today.
We have a tire war, of course. Michelin and Goodyear both heavily involved in it this year. In the standings currently, Goodyear winning the first two races in South America. Michelin bouncing back with that Ferrari sweep in South Africa. They went through all kinds of tires, like 8 different tires on the Ferrari yesterday in the final qualifying period. Looked like the old days.
Oh, they were throwing tires on and off like they were going out of style, Ken. And that's really what qualifying's all about. Getting the car set up and handling just at the right moment with a quick set of tires and a clear track. It all has to be together.
But we should point out, as opposed to a championship car race in this country or an NASCAR Grand National race, it's one set of tires to go the distance in this event. Just one when it gets down to race time. If you pull on pit road to change tires, you can pretty well figure, unless it's a rain situation and everybody pits, that it's not your day.
That's right, Ken. If you do have to stop for tires, a tire change during the race, it's unlikely that you're going to come out on top.
Back to Brock Yates.
Ken, we've got Emerson Fittipaldi with us, who just retired. Emerson, what happened?
Broke the rear drive shaft over the jump.
Emerson, a lot of people have been having that problem this year, more than in the past at Long Beach. Is it a change in the car design that's causing this, or is it the racetrack that's getting bumpier?
No, I'm sure it's the better tires. There's more grip, more force, more the drive shaft, more than ever now.
Thank you very much. We're sorry you're out. So Emerson brings some more adventure into this plot in terms of the tires that we were just talking about. Up to you, Ken.
Emerson Fittipaldi now out of competition. He started to have things go his way a little better this year. That sixth-place finish in Argentina. But right now, it's another day, as it has been for the past couple of years, for the Copa Supra team from Brazil.
I know the entire team was disappointed today, Ken. They had hoped to be able to run the new car, but unfortunately they had problems. After Kailami, they made 32 detailed changes to that car, and they still have to go back and run the older car today.
From the Goodyear Blimp Columbia, another perspective of this marvelous 2.2-mile, very precise turn. Back to Dan Gurney.
There he went. Gilles just went by once again, well in control. It'll be interesting to see what as the fuel load goes down and as the tires get worn more, and to see if Jean-Pierre Jarier just got terribly sideways, and now it's a big race. Jody Scheckter has just passed Jarier, going into turn 8. Tremendously loose move here. Almost spun, Jarier, almost spun.
So we have a change of positions in second place as the battle continues between Jody Scheckter and Jarier. Lead automobile moving down off Ocean Boulevard. Villeneuve's in front, and we have now completed 28 laps. 28 laps are down. I'll tell you, Villeneuve just gets better as the time goes on, and that's something that doesn't happen all the time. Brett?
We see Gilles going onto the main straight. It certainly is to his credit. People were very critical of his early races with Ferrari. In fact, there was some speculation, Ken, that Gilles would be dropped from the team before the end of his first season, and now look at him in complete control.
So here's Gilles Villeneuve, who started with McLaren in 1977 in the British Grand Prix, then switched to Ferrari in that very same year.
I was competing
straight uphill for him.
I was competing at the British Grand Prix in '77 when Gilles made his debut. He absolutely stunned the Grand Prix community by his qualifying and his performance in that race. At the time, though, he was under contract to McLaren. And then I guess Ferrari bought out the contract, and Gilles hasn't really looked back.
He certainly isn't looking back now as he continues to draw away from the field, and the Ferrari stand a chance now of sweeping this race in first and second place. Villeneuve almost throws it up into the wall here as he comes by, blasting down Ocean Boulevard, still continuing to command this race. Gilles Villeneuve is in front with his teammate Jody Scheckter, now back to second, bent nose and all. Jarier runs in the third position, Depailler in fourth, Mario Andretti fifth.
Französischen Tyrrell-Fahrer vorbeigegangen. Damit als im Augenblick beide Ferrari in Führung. Villeneuve vor Scheckter, genau wie vor einem Monat in Kyalami in Südafrika. Dritter Jarier, vierter Depailler, fünfter Andretti, sechster Jones. Siebenter Patrese, achter Pironi, neunter Regazzoni, 10. Maas, 11. Repacke, 12. De Angelis, 13. Piquet, 14. Stuck, 15. Daly, 16. Watson, 17. Lammers. Der Ausfall von Jacques Laffite passierte in der 9. Runde. Wenn Gilles Villeneuve seine Führung bis ins Ziel verteidigen kann, dann übernimmt der Franco-Kanadier heute die Führung in der Automobilweltmeisterschaft. Unglückliches Rennen also für Jacques Laffite. Sturz in der Aufwärmrunde, musste mit dem Ersatzwagen starten. Und zwar aus der allerletzten Reihe, genau wie Carlos Reutemann, der wegen elektrischen Defekts in der Aufwärmrunde angehalten hatte.
Focusing on Gilles Villeneuve here today as he flashes around this course with this beautiful Ferrari T4, the latest out of Maranello. I might mention here, as we stay on this lead automobile, we've had a technical problem with some of our cameras here. One of the communication links has come down in the course of the past 20 minutes. And I know that many of you racing enthusiasts, as Brett and I, really would like like to see some of the things further back, but right now we have a technical problem in that area.
As long as we're watching Villeneuve, Ken, let's take a look at his car under braking. Apparently they've added a new hydraulic leveler system to the car to keep it from dipping down too much under braking. Notice how level it is. Perhaps Dan Gurney can get an eyeball on that too.
Very true, Brad. It looks tremendously stable under braking. I think that Gilles, the former snowmobile champion from Canada, will now be coming under pressure from his teammate Jody Scheckter from South Africa, who seems to be pulling away from Jarier.
Now you see the Nelson Piquet car going by, and then the second place automobile. There's the third place car. As we're watching the Tyrrell trying to gain some time back here.
Apparently Dan reported earlier, Ken, that Jarier got very much sideways there at the Queen's hairpin. It could be that he's having a problem with the car. Let's watch him go through the S's.
There's Jarier in third, and now right behind him you see the fourth place car, and in fifth is Mario Andretti, and that's where the battle is beginning to develop. I tell you, our technical crew's doing a good job here trying to bring this all back together. There you see them. There's Jarier, number 4, headed down on Pine, off Ocean. Definitely exceeding the speed limit by a tad, and he seems to have about a two-car length advantage. There's Villeneuve once again, well out in front. His lead is extended to 13 seconds. Now there's your second place car. Now you see the interval from first to second. Nelson Piquet, a lap car, one of Bernie Ecclestone's machines, then Jarier, followed by the Didier Pironi car, and rather by the Depailler car, and then Mario Andretti. We'll have another relationship for you right here.
Definitely some drafting going on. Andretti now getting a tow behind Patrick Depailler.
Let's go to Dan Gurney as this battle continues to roll down toward the Queen's hairpin.
Very, very heavy traffic here. Mario and Patrick Depailler. It looks as though they're going to be all over Jarier on this coming lap.
Dan, in the last lap, Villeneuve lost 3 seconds. Was he in heavy traffic by you?
No, he was in the clear here.
Huh. Something may be amiss there.
It could be.
It's a real struggle going by us. Looking at the third place car, number 4, Jarier, fourth place car, Depailler, and fifth place car, number 1, Mario Andretti.
Mario's in a good position here, Ken. He can let Depailler put all the pressure in the world up on Jarier, and he'll just sit back and take advantage of whatever mistake the two of them might be making.
It's like a pool table, except you just can't touch any of the rudders here, or you're in big trouble. You have to stay off of it. And that's what makes this race so precise. Even the slightest miscue, just brushing the wall, and on these very sensitive racing cars, goodbye.
As fast as the cars are, they are also very delicate, Ken, and there is no way that you can touch wheels or give another car a nudge. Not in this kind of equipment.
Here's Jarier. The Tyrrell has not had good fortune. Remember, they had the 6-wheeler for a while. That didn't work. Now they're back with the standard 4-wheel car. And here again is the Ligiers pulling in as they go to Dan Gurney.
Again, Jarier is still leading Patrick Depailler and Mario Andretti. It looked about the same. They're really trying hard.
Now, if they come up into some lap traffic here, we could definitely see some positions change. Scheckter is motored away in the second place. This is third place, and there's Andretti trying to swoop the inside. Just trying to find any advantage, just the slightest. Andretti playing a waiting game for the moment. Forced into that position.
I think there's another thing we can look for here, Ken. I mean, one of the tricks that Ken Tyrrell usually does with the Tyrrell team is takes off a little bit of wing so the car's fast down the straight. Notice how Jarier is in trouble in the slow turns where the wing would have helped him. But on the straight, he seems to be able to pick it up again. Maybe it's that little bit less rear wing that Ken Tyrrell may have put in.
Ligiers on the inside. Does not gain an advantage. Back to that first hairpin. This is an excellent squabble that's going on. Patrick Depailler, winner at Monaco a year ago. Like street racing, such as we have here at Long Beach. And our live flag-to-flag coverage is closing on Jarier. There's the leader. There's the leader, Villeneuve. And the battle for third moves back to Dan Gurney at the Queen's hairpin.
Still less than a car length. But Jarier in front. Patrick right there, and Mario nipping at their heels.
Back they come towards our announced location. How many shifts do you make right in here?
Probably going up a gear and back down again for that tight left-hander at the end of the parking lot section. Mario seems to have a little bit of an advantage over Patrick Depailler there, but again, it could be just that little bit of effort Mario's making to keep Depailler honest.
With 24, correction 34, the 79 laps completed. We have 12 cars. There may be a correction on that. 14 cars still running. 14 automobiles still in competition with 24 that started. The leader continues to be Villeneuve. Now watch this blue and white car in second place, the Ligiers, try to gain the advantage on the Tyrrell. Two French teams going at it here. Two top French drivers, Mario Andretti, right and there again on the inside of the hairpin, the Ligiers trying to take a different line and get through.
Mario lost a little bit of ground in the hairpin then. He either got on the power a little bit early or perhaps got it a little bit sideways coming out. Yes, Andretti, in fact, has dropped back a little bit, but I think he'll be able to move back up again.
Scheckter has really drawn away from these three. He's pulled up by 7 seconds in second place. Again, the Ferraris are running 1-2. Here's your battle for third place. There you see it through the Queen's hairpin. Jarier in third, followed by Depailler in fourth, and back there Mario Andretti 3 car lengths in the 5th position. Very Gilles in the pits.
Well, let me remind you that while Gilles Villeneuve is fighting his own battle out on the track, there's a war of words going on amongst the stewards here. Now, as you know, Gilles Villeneuve messed up the start of the first race this afternoon. Now, he could be disqualified. He could even be penalised 60 seconds. But I have it on an official authority that he will only be fined. And that's good news for Gilles Villeneuve, because surely he doesn't deserve to have this race taken away from him by a penalty. The news is that almost certainly he will not be penalised time, but he will face a fairly hefty fine. I'm sure he won't mind that, Ken Squire.
I would imagine so. The 6th place is Alan Jones. 7th is still Patrese.
Mittlerweile ist Alan Jones an Nelson Piquet, der schon eine Runde Rückstand hatte, vorbeigekommen. Alan Jones hat es direkt Anschluss an Andretti gefunden. Das heißt, aus dem Dreikampf wird jetzt ein Vierkampf werden. Ein Vierkampf um die Plätze 3 bis 6. Jarier, Depailler, Andretti und Jones. Sollten die beiden führenden Ferrari-Fahrer Villeneuve und Scheckter in irgendwelche Reifenprobleme schlittern, dann würde es nicht überraschen, wenn aus dieser Vierergruppe der Sieger im Grand Prix von Amerika käme. Allerdings sollten die Ferraris von Villeneuve und Scheckter halten, dann gibt es über die Sieger im heutigen Grand Prix auch, glaube ich, keine Zweifel.
Or 12? 11 cars lead left, okay. cars in the lead lap. And this enthusiastic crowd watching this marvelous display of control by these great racing drivers here in the Long Beach Grand Prix as we watch the leader, Gilles Villeneuve, Montreal, Canada, out in front. His father makes children's clothes up there. His dad is not here for this race. He had suffered a heart attack earlier this year, and he's watching at home up on Channel 3 out of Vermont. This great race today.
You're talking about control, and control certainly is the word within the Ferrari camp today. Villeneuve is 16 seconds ahead of his teammate, Jody Scheckter, and Jody's maintaining a 13-second advantage over Jean-Pierre Jarier in that tight battle for third, fourth, and fifth place.
Villeneuve, still lapping cars, has moved around. Jan Lammers, the driver from Holland, in the shadow, and he just goes so incredibly quick anywhere he wants to. You know, one of the things about this Ferrari is the tremendous downforce it has and the amount of RPMs it can turn out, about twice as much as some of the others.
Not only that, Ken, but this is a difficult circuit to overtake on, and if you do have that torquey engine, it gives you a bit more leeway in the turns.
Let's go to Dan Gurney at the Queen's hairpin as the leader moves in.
Ken, here comes Gilles right now. I just want to say that a moment ago, Mario Andretti passed Depailler in a braking situation here at the Queen hairpin. I'd also like to say that today is an example of what Enzo Ferrari has often done. He's stuck with a young Charger in knowing that he will become a great driver, and I think you're seeing a demonstration of that today with Gilles Villeneuve.
Lap cars moving through. Behind them come the leaders. You saw Derek Daly there. There's a driver you want to watch in the future, I feel sure. Derek Daly in the new Ensign car, which is entered by Teddy Yip. And Teddy Yip has started so many drivers, a well-known man from Hong Kong in racing, and he's looked at Derek Daly and says, there is a champion.
Teddy's an incredible man, and I feel really, really pleased for Derek that the two of them have become associated. It's a good break for Derek.
Here's Gilles Villeneuve still just sliding. Seems to run the car like it's on ice all the time. Just moving the car so gently through these corners. Around the hairpin, Scheckter still in second. And the battle for third continues to heat up. As we mentioned earlier, we've had some major technical problems, but they've done a wonderful job of getting over them. And there you see Jarier running third, still in fourth. And now pulling up is Alan Jones. And there's Andretti. Took a quick stab at the inside on the car of Depailler and was not able to get by. Now Andretti is beginning to look stronger, and Alan Jones in the Saudi Williams car, you see him behind Andretti back in sixth position. That's where the battle is, and we'll focus on it for some time.
I expect that Mario has suddenly realized that Alan Jones has closed up on this battle, and he's starting to have to get with the program himself. Now Jones has the advantage. He can put the pressure on, whereas nobody's really making much of an effort to get at his tailpipes as he goes into a turn.
Two tiny rear view mirrors on the side of the cockpit of those cars, and right now Andretti has seen Alan Jones. Back to Dan Gurney.
This is it. Alan Jones is just out broke. He's just been in front of Mario. He's now behind Depailler.
So Alan Jones is on the move. He has won one Grand Prix for Team Shadow in Austria back in 1977. He is the defending Can-Am champion here in the United States. 32 years of age, the son of a famous Australian racing driver, Stan Jones. He's just passed Mario Andretti, and he's moved into fifth position. So Andretti right now could only score 1 point in the World Championship race today if he was to sustain six to the end of the race. Alan Jones, remember him last year with a front wing bent down like a Cocker Spaniel's ears at the end of the event? But that wasn't the problem, he told us later. Not the bent nose on the car and the wing dragging over the concrete. It was a matter of an electrical problem in the automobile. Here is Alan Jones on the charge, trying to pull up on those two French drivers. Fourth is the Ligiers. Fifth is the white and green Saudi Williams car. Back to Barry Hill.
Well, Alan Jones left past Mario Andretti, but his pit aren't too happy. Behind me, you can see that they're getting ready for a possible tyre change. The left front tyre. Now, Watson has changed the left front. Piquet's changed the left front. Reutemann has changed the left front. Perhaps Dan Gurney down to the hairpin. We'll see what's happening to the tyres. Back to you, Ken Squire.
It looked as though Jones was going to have a go at Depailler, but then he thought better of it coming in to the Queen's hairpin, and he's still back there just behind Depailler. He is definitely on the move. Back to you, Ken.
Third spot. Here he is, Jarier, number 4. Depailler holding on, and the pressure is really on Depailler. Alan Jones is there, and Alan Jones is looking very strong. Here's Andretti, now running in the 6th position with the Lotus number 1, and we are halfway in the event. You're watching CBS live flag-to-flag coverage of event number 4, a $600,000 race, the Long Beach Grand Prix for World Formula One cars.
An den Boxen Riccardo Patrese mit dem Arrows. Patrese lag zuletzt an der 7. Stelle. Villeneuve hat soeben Hector Repacque überrundet. Sekunden Vorsprung von Villeneuve auf Scheckter. Für uns ist das Bild wieder total ausgefallen in Long Beach.
April 1st, rather than further on in the week. We understand that some parts of the country with our telecast have had some technical problems. We've had a few here today, and the drivers have had them in immense amounts. Welcome to the Long Beach Grand Prix. If you're just joining us, we have right now Gilles Villeneuve in the lead with Jody Scheckter running in the 2nd spot, and here's your battle. It's in 3rd, and it's a marvelous scrap with Jarier of France, number 4, running in 3rd, followed by Depailler right on his tail in 4th. Then Alan Jones is in 5th, and Mario Andretti dropping to 6th. The red car there, about to lap a blue automobile, is your leader. That's Gilles Villeneuve, the youngster from Canada, as he whips in between the buildings, down the alleys, through the boulevards of Long Beach, California, with the lead.
As we watch Villeneuve, you can see the car bouncing about, Ken. You can see Villeneuve being shaken in the cockpit. At the end of this race, he's going to be a tired young man.
42 laps of the 79 have been completed. They've all been Villeneuve's. But remember, the start was confused. There were problems on the start. There's a question of whether he'll be heavily fined or if the punishment might be more severe, like a 60-second penalty. Right now, he's built up a 17 and 2-second advantage over his teammate, Jody Scheckter. There's your battle for 3rd place another time. Brett Lunger with us in the announcement. Dan Gurney at the Queen's hairpin. Barry Gill is with us, as well as Brock Yates, for this World Championship race. Right by our announcement booth comes this battle for 3rd, involving 4 automobiles. Andretti just waiting. Alan Jones looks like he has the horses to pull it off, but the Ferraris that can rev up to 12,500 RPM as compared to about 9 in those other cars has the lead. Look at the Ligiers make that move, Brett.
Not only that, but you have to give Alan Jones full credit here. He's driving an old car. This is the same car that he drove here in 1978. He was complaining earlier in the weekend that he wanted the new car, and yet he's pushing the Ligiers and the Tyrrell cars all over the circuit. Doing a good job.
There is another try by the Ligiers to get by Jarier's number 4, the French driver who has yet to win his first GP, still holding on.
I can tell you, Ken, in a battle like this, the laps tend to go awfully slowly. You're just waiting for that man to make a mistake so you can get by. And believe me, we might see some impatience before this is all over.
All right, here they come to the hard-braking part of the course. Let's go back to Dan Gurney. This could be it.
Patrick Depailler, no, he pulled out to make a braking effort, but then he couldn't do it. They pulled back in. It looks as though Jarier is holding them up, but they don't know how to get by him. Back to you, Ken.
Depailler from Clermont-Ferrand, France, 34 years old, continues to work on Jarier. Alan Jones is right behind Depailler, then Mario Andretti. There you see them, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place automobiles here in the Long Beach Grand Prix. As they come back to our location, we go to Brock Yates in the pits.
Ken, you know, I'm sure that Brett and Dan had their most of their time with stopwatches, and when I was racing, they used a calendar. But in this particular race, get a load of this. This is a computer developed by DataSpeed, a San Francisco operation, an aerospace company that now is able to produce lap by lap instant readouts of the top 10 teams running in this event. They'll give you the fastest lap, the exact time to the thousandths of a second, all instantaneously because of some sensors that are laid across this racetrack. The design is just being worked out for the Formula One Constructors Association, and the intent is to have all the cars able to be scored for the entire race and displayed to the spectators. So how about that?
Well, the way everything's worked today, I'll give it about 2 more laps before it says good night, nurse. In fact, Ken, car owners I've driven for have threatened to build a computer to replace the driver. That's the way things are going. I don't think it'll ever happen though.
Sure take the fun out of it. Here's Villeneuve. This guy is fun. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed going up to Los Angeles when we went shopping for cars the other day.
I thought you were going to get him to buy you one while you were there.
Well, I tried to get him to buy me that Daytona Spider, but it was $82,000, and he was short just 3 or 4 that day, so we called it off. But I'll tell you what he really wants right these days is a Ford Cobra 427, and there was one there for sale, and it was on sale. It was only $65,000.
A bargain, a real bargain.
Absolutely. The Arabs Playground, Santa Monica Boulevard these days. Here we are, back down in the Queen's Hairpin. Let's go to Dan Gurney.
Well, he did it, Ken. Patrick Depailler finally managed to get by Jarier in a tremendous braking effort here with tires smoking. So he now has 3rd place in his possession.
So Depailler is on the move. He is still gaining ground, and let's see if he can begin to deal with the Ferraris.
It'll be interesting to see, Ken, because Jarier, in fact, was dropping back from both Gilles Villeneuve and Jody Scheckter. Now that Depailler's gotten by, let's keep an eye and see, in fact, if Depailler is able to close that gap a little bit.
Let's go back to Dan Gurney.
He still has 3rd. In fact, he's stretching it out a bit. And now it's Alan Jones all over Jarier. In fact, he just made it. He's going into turn 8. He just forced Jarier wide, and Alan Jones is now also pulled into 4th place ahead of Jarier.
Dan, when you say he's all over him, does the guy really know he's all over him, or is he so focused in that helmet looking straight ahead? Does he know the other guy's there?
Very important that he does know he's there, and he knows the pressure is on. He's aware of where he is. I think he checks his mirrors whenever he leaves a turn or partway down the straight to see whether he's gaining or losing. So he's very much aware of it, although his job is primarily to concentrate on having his own car in the right place on the track, of course. Back to you, Ken.
Let's take a look again at that pass that has changed the complexion of this race as the Ligiers, the JS11, came through. We're being told now we have 6 cars in the lead lap. Brett?
Here we see Patrick Depailler making a move on Jarier. Jarier is one of the last late breakers. Look at Depailler locking a brake going into the hairpin, getting by Jean-Pierre Jarier. Alan Jones right on Jarier's tip. Jarier is probably not too happy at this point.
Beautiful move by Depailler. How many times do you actually move your feet around the pedals in 1 lap on this track? Give me an estimate, Brett.
In fact, Ken, 1 lap at Long Beach, I tried to count the number of times I moved my feet back and forth across the pedals, and I crashed.
Would you say over 40, less than 60?
Let's put it this way. I've never been much of a tap dancer, but you sure tap dance when you drive a lap at Long Beach.
Gilles Villeneuve tap dancing magnificently, just walking all over his competition, leading by 16 seconds over teammate Jody Scheckter. It's Canada's Villeneuve first. Scheckter of South Africa in the 2nd position. Then the French driver, Patrick Depailler, is in 3rd. And we have Jarier coming in the pits. Jarier is just pulling down on the pit road. Car number 4, the Tyrrell, which is right up in the thick of things. You see it coming down the pit road now, going into its pits. We don't know what the problem is. It could be a tire situation.
And you're right, it does look like a tire change. They probably gambled and ran the softer compound. With the sun coming out after a cloudy morning, they've obviously run into problems.
Indeed, they thought it might rain today. There were gray clouds foreboding over this crowd earlier today. Then the ceiling lifted, and it's a typical Long Beach Grand Prix afternoon. And that may have fouled the plans of the Ken Tyrrell team as you see them changing rubber now.
Ironically, the weather has been a factor in more than 1 Grand Prix race, Ken. We had a big drama in South Africa, rain and then dry conditions. And here again we see perhaps the increased temperatures coming into play again.
And let me point out that with what's just happened, Hector Rabach of Mexico, car number 31, has moved into 6th position. If he could finish in 6th, I believe, Brett, that would be his first World Championship point.
In fact, I believe he was in the points at Hockenheim time last year, Ken, but not only is it important that he gets the points, the real value to Scheckter today is getting the experience. Every lap he puts down here at Long Beach is going to go under his belt as something he can use later on in his career. A good day for Scheckter.
A good day for the crowd here at Long Beach, California, enjoying this marvelous race. And we'll be back with more of this Long Beach Grand Prix in just a moment. We'll return with more.
Zweiter Boxenstopp für den Deutschen Hans-Joachim Stuck auf ATS. Abstand zwischen den beiden Ferraris 21,13 Sekunden. Leider weiterhin kein Bild in Long Beach. Ich danke den Kollegen aus Wien, die mich über das Renngeschehen aus dem Studio in Wien sozusagen informieren. Aktueller Stand, Villeneuve erster, Scheckter zweiter, Depailler dritter, Jones vierter, Andretti fünfter, Rebacke sechster. Pironi siebenter,
Live coverage of this weird in South Africa.
Yes, I can see the Ferrari dominance beginning to show, Ken. This, of course, is the second race for their new model T4 Ferrari. And it certainly is turning out to be a very good race for the Ferrari team. There's Jody Scheckter, yes, running in second place, still with the bent wing there.
Scheckter maintaining second. The Ferraris are off to a good start here on the season. The Ligiers winning the first two events, and here you see car number 11 attempting to lap a car. That was Scheckter trying to get by. Let's see who he's working on here. That was number 3, Didier Pironi. Pironi gets himself as he shoots down Pine. Linden goes down, Linden comes up Pine.
I'm glad you're not driving today, Ken, because if you got it wrong, you'd be in trouble there.
I would have crashed many, many hours ago. We're showing 5 cars in the lead lap, and we mentioned Scheckter has pulled into 6th position with his car from Mexico. And in the 7th position now is that car just being lapped, Didier Pironi. That's the second Tyrrell automobile. Jarier came in for tires. Showing 8th at the present time is De Angelis, the Italian driver that Shadow just hired this year. This was the car that Danny Ungaius might have driven. De Angelis is in it. He was an excellent skier. He was on the national junior team in Italy for a while, good downhill racer. And he, like Patrick Tambay, has turned his attention to the world of racing. And in motorsports, he's good. He was also karting champion of Italy, runner-up one time for the world title.
I think De Angelis probably has a pretty good future ahead of him. He's running through race cars at a fairly great rate, bumping into walls and things, but young drivers tend to do this off and on.
Well, here is a young driver who thus far has not bumped into any walls, but has had a propensity for such activity in the past. Jarier, a quick stop, you're saying?
That's right. It appears that Jarier was in and out of the pits very quickly. I think he's running now in 10th place. It'll be interesting to see if he's able to catch up.
Indeed, Jarier has fallen on our latest report to 10th position. And there is Scheckter of Mexico, now running in the 6th position. Isn't that a beautiful car? It is a chocolate brown and gold car. They have probably the finest racing livery, the jackets and so forth they wear is just magnificent. Hans Stuck is pitting his car. The ATS has just pulled on pit road. The West German driver has just come down on the pit road of the ATS car.
I think Scheckter has to be doubly pleased. Not only is he running a very strong race in his private Lotus, but he was actually not in the race until the Renault team had withdrawn. He had not qualified for the race, and without the Renaults running, he was able to move up and start the race, and now look what he's doing.
I think we should tell our viewers again that the Renault team retired both cars today. One of their drivers, Jabouille, broke a wrist yesterday when he crashed into a wall, and they said the track was too dangerous for the 6-cylinder, 1.5-liter turbocharged Renault. They're waiting for Spain next on the calendar with an all-new car, as everyone is. It's so strange that this early in the season, just the 4th race, everyone's going to come out with new weapons.
We'll probably go to Spain and find that everybody's 2 seconds a lap slower, Ken. Sometimes it happens that way.
Let's find out what Barry Gill has discovered in the pits.
Well, the news from the pits is still the tyre story. The reason that Jean-Pierre Jarier came into the pits was to change all 4 tyres. We just had Claire Regazzoni in to change 2 of his tyres, and Riccardo Patrese has retired because of a brake problem.
John Watson is pulling on pit road, Barry. He's coming down to you now. Does that look like a tire problem? What can you tell us about John Watson in one of the McLarens?
John Watson has been in and out of the pits all day, Ken. He's had handling problems. He's not happy with the car, and this has been the worst day's racing for McLaren that I have seen for a long, long time. Back to you, Ken.
There you see John Watson, one of the most popular, one of the most quiet people. Reads his books, listens to his jazz. Crash down to the corner. Who is it? Back of the automobile. I think that is
Jan
one
Lammers,
of the shadows.
it looks like.
The Holland driver. Jan Lammers of Holland in a shadow. The DN9B car, Ford Cosworth powered. The lion on the nose. Those aren't flames. That's the lion's mane. And the lion just had his paws removed. The front of the car coming off the wing, coming off. There you can see the car being rolled back. And the lion apparently has a black eye.
Certainly a disappointing day for Jan Lammers. I did some promotional work with him in Holland. He's a very pleasant young man, and I think he also does have a pretty good future in motor racing if he's able to stick with it.
Started in 1979, just this year, at Argentina for the Shadow team. Small, too, about 5'2".
They're getting smaller every year, Ken. You won't see them playing in the NBA games.
We'll have Steve Cawthon out here before too long. Maybe he'll come back from Great Britain and do some of this. Or he could just wait for them. He'll be over there before too long.
There was a driver who had quite an opportunity to race horses, Peter Geffen, who won the Italian Grand Prix one year.
As they come for the 54th lap, here is your leader, moving back to the Queen's hairpin. And here once again is Dan Gurney.
And I was just feeling sorry for poor Patrick Depailler, who worked so hard to get by Jarier, and finally Jarier went into the pits, and now of all things, when he came back out of the pits, he's back in front of poor Depailler, and I think it's slowed Depailler's advance towards the front. It's just one of those, the luck of racing, and you think that the chances are that he wouldn't come out in front, but that's the way it's worked out. Jarier back in front of Depailler again, even though he's several laps down.
He is a lap down, but he is in front of him. I wonder if they'll have a little chat out there about that last pass that was pulled off by Patrick Depailler down there at the Queen's hairpin in front of Dan Gurney, where his announce location is. For this live flag-to-flag coverage of the Long Beach Grand Prix, which we hope you're enjoying today, and let us review for you again at 54 laps. Now we have one of the Saudi cars in. Is that Regazzoni's automobile in? Clay Regazzoni, a former winner of the event when he drove for Ferrari, is now on pit road in one of the Frank Williams cars. And here is Alan Jones working hard on Depailler. Had him inside, had him outside. Depailler had better be very collected today, because if he makes just the slightest margin of error, Alan Jones will gobble him up.
In fact, in 1976, Ken, I drove with Alan Jones on John Surtees' team. Jones, from the very beginning, showed a tenacity and a determination behind the wheel that was impressive to all around him. He certainly has the guts and the drive for it.
And that is like father, like son. Over in the islands, they speak so respectfully of his dad, the late Stan Jones. Here is number 25, Patrick Depailler, Ligiers, JS11, staying in front of Alan Jones in the Saudi Williams car. The battle there between 25 and the 27 car. They are fighting for third position. Moving up in the fifth position is Mario Andretti. In sixth is Rabach. Following in seventh is Didier Pironi. The eighth position currently is shown as number 18. You just saw him a moment ago, the Angelus, flashing by as a lap car. Then in the ninth position at the present time is car number 30, Jochen Maas of West Germany. Maas, driving one of the Arrows cars, is working his way up in the ninth. And in the 10th position now is Nelson Piquet of Brazil, and things are not going at all well for Bernie Ecclestone's Brabham Alpha. That V12 automobile, the VT46, just isn't doing it.
Unfortunately, the Brabham team has had their share of problems, but it still remains one of the finest teams in motor racing, and I think we'll probably see them running strong throughout the season.
This is going to be something if the Maple Leaf flies over Southern California today. They play the anthem of the winning country, and it very well could be "Oh Canada" at the end of this event. Down to Dan Gurney.
Ken, earlier Brett mentioned impatience, and we just saw it here with Depailler trying to get by Jean-Pierre Jarier, because coming into the Queen's hairpin, he did make contact, and it actually bent part of Depailler's wing down when he contacted Jean-Pierre's rear wheel, but he did get by. In fact, Jarier has faded way into the way back now, and Patrick is off and running again with a bent wing.
Villeneuve staying in front. There you see the 18 car we were mentioning just a moment ago. That is De Angelis, the young Italian driver, in a shadow, and De Angelis is being shown in 8th position.
In fact, Ken, I think we're looking here at 2 youngsters. De Angelis running very close to Didier Pironi. Ran here last year from the back of the grid, had a reasonably good race, so he's a little bit up on experience. But look at this, absolutely incredible pass by De Angelis. Pironi's just wondering how it happened.
Now that's why you're going to hear more and more about De Angelis. He is just so tenacious. He's another one of those rough drivers that's going to come through for a lot of wins in future years. Brock Yates.
Ken, the jury is still out. We sort of feel like reporters standing around outside a courtroom, but the SCCA stewards of this meet are still in session regarding the penalties that are going to be maybe assessed against the Ferrari team. There's speculation here among some people that know more than I do about it that it may be as much as a minute, which means that Villeneuve would have to win by more than a minute to remain the victor. So we'll stay on that story while you guys watch that race from a better vantage point. Back to you.
Well, it's 20.5 seconds by which Villeneuve leads right now. I think the question might be how far it is back to the 3rd place car, the car other than Ferrari, to see what's going to happen to their chances there. We'll check the interval between the 1st and 3rd place automobiles. It's now being shown to us as 29 seconds. Interval coming up, and we'll give you more on that story in just a moment here at Long Beach.
Villeneuve, Scheckter, Depailler, Jones, Andretti, die ersten 5. 6. ist Rebacke, 7. De Angelis, 8. Pironi, 9. Jarier und 10. Piquet, 11. Daly, 12. Maas, 13. Watson. Mittlerweile aber große Aufregung unten in den Boxen. Man spricht von einer Strafminute oder von einem Penalty, also einer Bestrafung der beiden Ferrari-Fahrer Villeneuve und Scheckter. Herr Wolf ist wieder herausgekommen. Was ist unten los?
Ja, was passiert ist, bei Warm-Up-Lap haben die beiden Ferrari durchgefahren und dadurch ist alles stehen geblieben. Die haben eine Runde mehr gefahren, was sie nie sollten. Und jetzt ist entscheidet der Marshal of the Course. Auf der Strecke wird entscheiden, ob da eine Penalty wird gegen Ferrari oder nicht. Wenn das passiert, kann die Ferrari natürlich nicht gewinnen. Ne? Das ist schon ein paar Mal passiert gegen Lotus und Villeneuve in Monza letztes Jahr.
Auch Andretti mit der Strafminute damals.
Ja, das könnte auch hier wieder passieren. Die haben eine Runde mehr gefahren, wie sein sollte. Jetzt geht es nur, ob die gesehen haben, wie schnell das ausgehangen hat oder nicht. Wenn die gesehen haben, wenn die Marshal beweisen kann, dass die gesehen haben, den Schild und auch durchgefahren.
At the Long Beach Grand Prix, one of 2 World Championship races in the United States, the other at Watkins Glen come the end of the season. We're watching Gilles Villeneuve continuing to lead, the Canadian running in 1st.
Ken, I may be mistaken, but it looked like he went awfully wide in that hairpin. Let's keep an eye on Villeneuve for a little while and see if he does have any problem with the car.
He is leading by 22.5 seconds over his South African teammate, Jody Scheckter, and he has an advantage of 52 seconds over the 3rd place car. And the 3rd place car here in the Long Beach Grand Prix remains the Patrick Depailler, car number 25. Then in the 4th position is Alan Jones. Mario Andretti is in 5th. Hector Rabach is in 6th. Those are the standings currently here in this World Championship race, which Villeneuve has dominated from the moment it began.
Villeneuve is going to have to pull out a little bit more of a lead, Ken, if the politicians in the pits decide to put that 60-second fine on him. He's going to need more than a minute lead over the 3rd place car, Patrick Depailler, but it looks now as if he does have it in hand.
He needs about 8 seconds to take him, and then they have to retire Scheckter, would they not? Or they would still penalize and give Scheckter the advantage.
Goodness knows what they're going to do, Ken. I don't even think they know at this point.
Anarchy reigns. That's not true. I'm sure they're coming up with a decision down there far away from where we are, but they're grappling with this problem at the present time. Let's go to Dan Gurney.
Ken.
Come in, Dan.
Hello, Ken.
Come in, Dan Gurney.
Here I am. Let's face it, Ken. Gilles Villeneuve is giving these older men a real driving lesson. I'd say it's a real shellacking.
I would agree with you the way things are going right now. Scheckter, who's another relatively young driver, holding on in second. Mario Andretti, he can't wait for that new Lotus 80. That could change everything for him when it comes to Spain.
I'm sure that in the back of Mario's mind, he's probably looking pretty hard for that new car right now. Yet he's not totally out of it. Mario is a heck of a competitor, and a few inches, a few millimeters that make up a difference between first and sixth can be regained very, very easily.
Ground effects is going to be the word. We've heard about wings, we've heard about power, but what they're going to do in the next 2 or 3 months might be what we see on cars 10 or 12 years hence, because the ground effect car is certainly proving to be far more efficient, far more effective as an automobile than what we've seen before.
In fact, design direction indicates, Ken, that we probably won't see those high rear wings in the near future.
They're going to disappear.
All of the downforce will be generated by the chassis itself, by the air flowing over the body of the car.
14 cars running in the lead lap. And if you can slide them through the air, you've got the whole trick going. We have 5 cars in the lead lap, 14 cars running on the track at the present time. This is a 2.02 12-turn course at Long Beach, California. Brett Lunger with me. I'm Ken Squire, delighted to bring you flag-to-flag CBS coverage of the Long Beach Grand Prix, which has pretty much been the Gilles Villeneuve charity event thus far, but that may change because of an incident at the start. We had 2 starts today, which is something which has come up several times of recent. In the past couple of years, there had to be restarts. For instance, in South Africa, it was rain created, but they had themselves quite a cocoa clutch over there about the start. They ran 2 laps, had to restart, who went in what position, and confusion reigned throughout that race, which was dominated after that by the Ferrari automobiles. Now, you see some of the cars which are fallen by the wayside. Patrick Tambay, Lauda, Hunt, Laffite, currently number 1. Mazzario's car, Emerson Fittipaldi, Carlos Reutemann. Tambay crashed at the hairpin right at the start of our event. That was the biggest shunt of the day. That was the one by Tambay. It's interesting to watch this crowd that are here today. There is over 100,000 people, and among them are some of the most famous names in motor racing, and because they're not out there on the track, I saw Tommy Sneeder today, people just walking by. You see him at a championship car race, everybody's around it. Not true here. And I'll tell you something else, Brett. Earlier today, 2 of the greatest motorcyclists in the world are down here in the pits. The world champion, badly injured a few weeks ago in Japan, Kenny Roberts is here, who in the motorcycle world, you go to a motorcycle race and everybody just flocks to him. And of course they don't know him. And Gene Romero, El Burrito, who won Daytona's 201 time. Here's the start, and here's where the problem all began. And the controversy is still reigning, as Brock Gates was reporting a moment ago. Now you see the Villeneuve car coming down, and his fellow on the front row with him, Reutemann, was not there because he had problems before they even moved to the start.
That may, in fact, have been part of Villeneuve's confusion. He probably looked off to his left, didn't see the man that he expected to see, and went on around the circuit. Here we see Villeneuve going through the parking lot, coming up Pine, heading to the jump up onto the pit straight, which is Ocean Boulevard.
So the drama of this event is far from over. Now we'll try and get a reading for you on what action may be taken before we go off the air today, but it's one you'll want to follow in your papers because Villeneuve, to us, appears to be winning his 2nd straight race and his 3rd career victory. He won his own nation's Grand Prix a year ago. He's a big favorite in the Northeast United States and in Canada, and here he is well out in front with a 22.5-second advantage over his teammate, and now about 55 seconds back to the 3rd place car in the field.
Even more impressive is the fact that Villeneuve is such a newcomer to Formula One racing. In fact, last year, the Grand Prix where he led at Long Beach was his first time at Long Beach. The year before that, he was running Formula Atlantic. It's quite a story, Ken.
18 laps to go. Just 18 laps remaining in this event. You talk about names that people might recognize from various parts of sport or from entertainment. There's your leader right there. George Harrison is standing down here on pit road, and nobody even recognizes him. They're walking back and forth by him. Let's go down to Barry Gill in the pits.
Well, the news about Gilles Villeneuve is that no one is going to allowed to be known exactly what's happening until all the teams have been told. That's the rules. But unofficially, I've been told that a fine is the most likely penalty. And the reason is that that first race never started. What happened is that Gilles Villeneuve rolled along and then just carried on rolling, so neither the red light nor the green light came came on. And that means there was never a start. And if a race wasn't started, you can't be disqualified, and you certainly shouldn't be penalised at 60 minutes. So, Ken, that's what the officials are saying. They're going to tell all the teams later, but my word, there'll be some protests at the end of this battle. Back to you, Ken.
It's wonderful to have Barry Gill with us because he's such a gossip. He just is around everyone in the pits, and he automatically, no one is supposed to know, but he always knows it all. All right, we're still watching Gilles Villeneuve out in front with his teammates still in second, and then a battle continues to rage for third place here in the Long Beach Grand Prix.
Hochblättern und auch sehr viele Teamchefs, die sich jetzt beim Stand nach 64 Runden genau nach der rechtlichen Situation erkundigen. Es geht leider in der Formel 1 oft nicht ohne diese Streitigkeiten ab. Es ist aber nicht ganz unverständlich, ein Sport, der Millionen Dollar in jedem Jahr umsetzt. Ein Sport, in dem es um sehr viel Geld geht, hat natürlich andere Gesetze als irgendein Amateursport. Die Regeln allerdings sind oft derart unklar formuliert, dass es kein Wunder ist, wenn Bernie Ecclestone und seine Formel 1 Konstrukteursvereinigung das Kommando über den Formel 1 Sport komplett an sich reißen wollen, weil die internationalen Sportbehörden, das haben sie ja immer wieder bewiesen, viel zu schwach und in ihren Entscheidungen auch viel zu wankelmütig sind. Der Vorstoß des Australiers Alan Jones geht weiter. Jones hat Depailler überholt und ist jetzt Dritter, Depailler Vierter. Dahinter unverändert Andretti Fünfter und Rebacke Sechster.
Fifth lap with 15 laps to go, and we've had a change of positions while we were away, showing that Alan Jones has passed Patrick Depailler and moved the Williams Stoddy car into third place. Car is getting stronger by the minute, the Williams car, and they have a new automobile for Spain. They're pretty excited about it.
Yes, but Alan has always gone well on this circuit. From the very beginning, he was quick here. And I think last year we have to remember that that so-called old car really put the pressure on Carlos Reutemann, who eventually did win the race.
We have another car in trouble on the course. Car number 9, the ATS automobile of Hans Stuck. Well, he was nailed. This is in replay now. And it cobbled up the front of the car, and he is stopped.
Looks like Hans Stuck had a bit of a problem under braking, perhaps making contact with another car in the Queen's hairpin. Maybe Dan Gurney saw that.
Brett, I did not see that, but certainly there's been a lot of very heavy traffic, and that fight for third place has been very exciting. Here comes Jody Scheckter with his bent wing Ferrari. He looks well in control of second place. I was going to say earlier that Jean-Pierre, that is Patrick Depailler, also had a bent front wing similar to Jody's. At that time, both the second and third place car had bent front wings, but now, of course, Alan Jones has passed him, and Alan Jones, from the hard luck driver from last year, who put on such a tremendous show. I bet he wishes the race were a little bit longer, although it's still not over with yet.
No, indeed. Villeneuve has a 57-second advantage over Alan Jones. 57 seconds, and he has a 21-second advantage over the second-place car. We keep hearing stories about money as well as about time as a penalty to Villeneuve about that start, and you feel that he was a victim of circumstance there. He was supposed to start in the front row with Carlos Reutemann. Reutemann wasn't there. There was a little confusion, and it turned out to be a lot of confusion before it was over. Here's Scheckter. second-place runner, Jody Scheckter, could be another Ferrari sweep, first and second place, as it was in the last round, round 3, which was held at Johannesburg, South Africa. On to Spain. Back to Brock Yates in the pits.
Ken, Barry Gill's rumor mill strikes again. He's right. It will be a financial fine yet to be determined, but the placings will not be affected by that start. So how much can they fine him to make it hurt? He wants that victory, and that's what it looks like he's going to get. Back to you.
If they really want to hurt him, they'll take away one of those toys he bought out here. Let's see, for Andretti, getting close. Mario Andretti is moving in on Depailler, we are now told, and that would make it a really tight romp for 4th position as we watch Scheckter still running in 2nd down Ocean Boulevard. So late in the race, Mario Andretti, trying to draw up in the points, is beginning to close ground on the 4th place car, Patrick Depailler. Mario Andretti is in 5th, and again Hector Rabach of Mexico is in the 6th position.
Interesting to look at the rear wing on Jody Scheckter's car. It's a distinctly different design. Notice it's forward of the rear wheels, Ken. If we get a shot of Villeneuve, you'll see that Villeneuve is running the conventional wing coming down the Shoreline Drive. Take a look here, the conventional wing position on Villeneuve's car. If we get a chance to go back to Scheckter, notice the position of that rear wing.
Well, the Grand Prix season is certainly going to be the most exciting with all these new cars coming out when the field moves back to Europe here for the next events. There'll be the new Lotus. There'll be the new Williams car. All kinds of new equipment coming out. A new Ligiers automobile is in the works.
But I can't help but believe with the Ferrari's sudden dominance with their new car, winning the first time out in Ferrari and now looking so strong here at Long Beach, there we see the rear wing position, an experimental position on Jody Scheckter's car. They have to be in a very strong position now, having stolen the march on the rest of the teams with the new car, getting their new car out first, and being so competitive right from the beginning. And it's good for Ferrari.
Well, as they have done before, they are dominating this event. Ferrari is leading again. These cars seem perfectly acclimated to Southern California. You see some of them on the street more than other parts of America, and here on the streets of Long Beach, they have been numero uno from day one.
We see Gilles Villeneuve again heading down Shoreline Drive, absolutely under control. Villeneuve is doing a very, very good job today, Ken.
The only man who has stopped the Ferrari tide here in Long Beach, of course, was Mario Andretti 2 years ago, and he beat Jody Scheckter in that great last turn Queen's hairpin bout. But other than that, we have a car. Almost thought he got a little too close to the inside wall as he made his cut there, but that is not the case. He continues on. And we're beginning to see it draw closer between Mario Andretti and Depailler as they fight for the 4th position. That's really getting close. Alan Jones has moved into 3rd.
I think Andretti has to realize that it's getting late in the day, and if he's going to move up, he's going to have to make a move fairly soon. But Patrick Depailler is not an easy man to get past. In fact, he's been known to have one of the wider cars in Grand Prix racing.
68 laps complete now, with 12 remaining. It's still Villeneuve flawlessly moving around the course, getting in between these cement walls and staying out in front. All right, Hans Stuck is still running, but they're declaring him out of the race. We're going to see why right now. Let's see what it is. He is being pushed, and that's a no-no.
There it is, again, a push start. At the end of the race, Stuck may claim that he's in a dangerous position and have to be pushed, but I suspect that little bit of a push, you see him lighting up the tires, allowed him to get the car restarted. He's definitely going to be penalized or put out of the race.
So Hans Stuck back underway with a little help from his friends here at Long Beach, California today. The battle is for 4th. Depailler and Andretti getting closer together now. We should see that one coming down to the wire before the afternoon is over and see if the master, Mario Andretti, defending world champion, can deal with another young challenger. They're moving down Ocean Boulevard while we are watching Gilles Villeneuve in 1st. Scheckter runs in 2nd. Alan Jones maintaining 3rd. Depailler is 4th. 5th, Mario Andretti. 6th, Rabach. Going 7th would be De Angelis at the present time on the move.
Villeneuve und damit die Führung in der Weltmeisterschaft. 6 Punkte für Scheckter, 4 für Jones, 3 für Depailler, 2 für Andretti und einer für Hector Rabach. Der junge Mexikaner hat schon einmal einen Punkt erreicht in seiner Karriere, und zwar war er 6. im Grand Prix von Deutschland auf dem Hockenheimring vorigen Juli. Backe wäre eigentlich genauso wenig wie Daly für den heutigen Grand Prix qualifiziert gewesen, ist aber aufgrund der zwei frei gewordenen Plätze durch den Renault-Rücktritt ins Rennen gekommen. Backe hatte die 25. Trainingszeit gefahren und Daly die 26. und schlechteste.
Villeneuve out in front. Gilles Villeneuve of Montreal, Canada, has the advantage. Almost 28 seconds over second place Scheckter. Third, Alan Jones. Fourth, Depailler and Andretti. Red Longer?
This battle between Andretti and Depailler is going to be something to see as the race unwinds. Here we see Villeneuve onto the pit straight. If we get a shot of Villeneuve going down the pit straight, notice how the car bumps. Very difficult to set up for an overtaking maneuver there because of the very bumpy surface on Ocean Boulevard. Here's the move. Andretti
under a lap car and trying to move up on Depailler in third.
This could also be a factor in the battle, Ken. We see a little bit of traffic ahead of Depailler and Andretti. If Mario can just play that traffic properly, just plan his move at the right time, he could be by and away.
Depailler in the fourth position, Patrick Depailler. He said third, that was incorrect. It's Depailler in fourth, Mario in fifth. Here is Mario Andretti, fifth place competitor, Lotus 79, winner of 12 Grand Prix, and winner of everything here. Indianapolis, Daytona, sprint cars, midgets, hill climbs, go-karts, you name it. He's run it and he's won it.
Mario seems to be pretty quick down the straight, but through these twisty bits, he's giving a little bit of ground to Patrick Depailler. Again, we may be seeing an aerodynamic difference in the cars. I'm losing my tongue, Ken.
Well, one thing that's not being lost is the lead by Villeneuve. He has dominated such as no one has done this year. No one has pulled it off like he has done this year. Those two wins by Laffite and the Ligiers early in South America. The win that he had, it was highly contested by the Renault in the first laps until it rained. Here he is here just pretending there's no one else around on a Sunday afternoon but himself.
Not only that, Ken, but he's running very, very consistent. His lap times are not varying particularly one way or the other. He's running smoothly in the 1:22-second range.
From the Goodyear blimp. That's not the Capitol Records building either there. We're down in Long Beach. We're in Hollywood.
Interesting shot there. We just saw Villeneuve going through a fast left-hand sweeper during last year's Grand Prix. While in the lead, Carlos Reutemann spun in that left-hand sweeper, didn't touch anything, managed to collect it up and go on and win. I'm glad Enzo Ferrari didn't hear about that last year. Reutemann might have been in for a handslide.
Well, Reutemann now with Team Lotus was slapped hard with technical problems early in the day. Electrical problems putting his car on the sidelines. He had to start from behind. And our latest report is that one was the Reutemann car down and out in this event. Hard break for Reutemann, who was second going into today's world standings. Laffite, he's out. He was up in the world standings. So it's going to be a change as far as the title is concerned. It'll get much closer. They're scoring the World Championship this year. 4 races from the first event of the year, and 4 races, your best 4 finishes in the last half of the year, the last 8 races.
Interesting to watch. Villeneuve behind a slower car going through the parking lot where he had his problem last year with Clay Regazzoni. This time, he did not try to make the move. He waited until the pit straight. We see him now overtaking car number 3, Didier Pironi. Very, very much more of a calculating driver. Perhaps last year, he didn't have the experience that he has this year, Ken. He waited and made the move at the right time.
Last year was certainly a hard lesson. 7 laps are remaining here today in the running of the Long Beach Grand Prix, the 4th time for Formula One cars, the 5th race, the first being a Formula 5000.
Stunde und wieder voll beschleunigen. Die schnellsten Runden fährt im Augenblick der an 7. Stelle liegende Jean-Pierre Jarier, nachdem der Tyrrell-Fahrer an den Boxen war. In den Punkterängen keine Veränderung. 1. Villeneuve Ferrari, 2. Scheckter Ferrari, 3. Jones Williams, 4. Depailler Ligiers, 5. Andretti Lotus und 6. Backe mit dem privaten Lotus. Dahinter 7. Jarier, 8. De Angelis, 9. Pironi und 10. Piquet. 11. dann Daly, 12. Watson, 13. der deutsche Jochen Maas.
Patrick Depailler, number 25. Mario Andretti in the green Lotus. Not black this year, but green, new colors. And in that green and gold livery, he is running currently in 5th position, trying to close on the French blue and white colors.
In fact, we saw Mario drop back a few laps ago. Perhaps he was cooling his tires to have one last go at getting past Patrick Depailler. It's coming down to the wire, and Mario knows he has to get it all together if he's going to get past.
There's your leader. Villeneuve still in front, Scheckter still in second, Alan Jones in third. Battle is for 4th. And 2 cars off the track. Hector Rabac and Derek Daly's cars have gone off the course.
What a shame for Hector Rabac. After running strongly all day long, 6th place, one of his best races in his very young Grand Prix career. It looks like he's out of the race.
That's just down below us. That's about turn 10 where that crash has taken place. A back marker, Derek Daly and Hector Rabac, who had been running in 6th. The Mexican has crashed off the course. There's your leader. Another time. Still Villeneuve. My, what he's learned in a year. A year ago, thrashing and then crashing. De Angelis is now 6th. The young Italian has moved into 6th position. 5 laps remaining. Don't forget, on the upcoming weekends here on CBS, the NBA playoffs are here. The giants of basketball here on CBS. Don't miss it. Sunday after Sunday. There's the leader, going by 2 cars now out of the race. The Daly car and the Rabac car. Villeneuve well in front. Scheckter in second. This will be the second biggest advantage by which anyone has won this race. Clay Ragazzoni won it by 42 seconds over Lauda in 1976. Andretti had a very close call with Scheckter. Reutemann last year 11 seconds. So next to Reutemann, Ragazzoni rather, this is by far the biggest rout they've had, and Villeneuve has dominated all day.
Certainly a masterful drive, Ken. Absolutely in control.
Hey, listen to this. How about this for a find? Reutemann and Villeneuve, 10,000 Swiss francs. Qu'est-ce que c'est francs to American dollars?
I think at this particular point, Ken, it could be 10,000 American dollars, and neither of these 2 guys are going to really care all that much. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see Enzo Ferrari dip into his own pocket and say, "Good job, lads. You really did it to him at Long Beach."
It's a $600,000 race here today, and that doesn't count the cost to Long Beach of transporting the Formula One circus here. It is the premier circuit in the world, but it certainly came off with a confusing start today, as you saw if you were with us earlier. Again, I want to remind you, on the upcoming Sundays, you'll see them all, the greatest basketball players there are, in the NBA playoffs for 1979. And of course, it's right here on CBS. So don't miss the action. Sunday after Sunday, you'll see the best done by the best. CBS. And here is your leader. The second place car, number 11, Scheckter. Jody Scheckter with that familiar white helmet with the yellow piping on it. In second place to Villeneuve. And we just had someone coming off the course directly down below us here.
And that was Peroni. That's Peroni off. He touched the wall coming up and had to go down the escape road on the last turn of the circuit.
So Peroni is off the course. They're bringing his car around. I wonder if they're going to push him. If they do, they'll get him a penalty. Probably just rolling this car away. The Tyrrells are not having a good day this day. Hey, what's this about having another 6-wheel car, but this time the wheels and back?
Ken, you hear all kinds of rumors in Grand Prix racing. Look at Mario coming through the S's here.
Andretti, who won this race in such dramatic fashion. Let's go to Dan Gurney.
Ken.
Go ahead, Dan.
If you notice, Ken, why Mario finally did it. He finally got past Patrick Depailler. That puts him in 4th place, correct?
That would bring him up. Give him some more points toward the World Championship. Mario Andretti continuing to move.
Every little point counts.
It must have been quite a move getting past Depailler, because as I said earlier, Depailler is a very determined young man, and it looks as if Andretti might have been held up a little bit by Depailler, because he's now opening up quite a lead on the French driver.
And he's going after Alan Jones. He's running in 3rd place. Alan Jones, number 27, in 3rd. Mario Andretti is now in 4th, with Depailler falling to 5th. Let's check our 6th place competitor, with Rabac having crashed. De Angelis would be shown in 6th, and moving to 7th would be, well, Didier Peroni has fallen by the wayside a bit, so that would move up in the next car, Nelson Piquet. Piquet beginning to move up as the attrition continues to climb here in the Long Beach Grand Prix.
We just ran a check, Ken, and we found that Mario is 5 seconds back from Alan Jones.
5 seconds back is Andretti from Alan Jones. And the time left in this race is very scant. They are working in the 78th lap, I understand now, 78th lap. As we get down to the end of it, a couple more laps to go, and we'll see if Andretti can do anything more with Alan Jones. Alan is running very well as he comes by us and heads down Ocean Boulevard. Mario Andretti is running just a few seconds behind him. Meanwhile, Villeneuve continues to be flawless, to be perfect on every single turn, shifting about 30 times a lap.
Not making a mistake any place on the circuit. Look at him, just close to the curb and yet not touching it. Taking care of his machinery, knowing what time it is in the day.
It's a 2-hour slalom course is what it is here at Long Beach, for just the slightest margin. You don't bend the pole, you hit the concrete, and you are done for the day.
Whether it happens on the first lap or the last lap, you have to stay off the walls, Ken. There's no way to finish a race that way.
There is a lap remaining. Gilles Villeneuve is on his way to his second straight, his third overall career victory. Here's Jody Scheckter running in second position as we get down to the finish of the event. That wing still popped up there on the right side on Scheckter's car, which has been that way since the second hairpin turn of this race.
In fact, it doesn't seem to have made that much of a difference to Jody. He's running a strong race, and he's not being threatened by anyone at this time. Certainly a Ferrari day.
Well, it's certainly been one of the strangest Grand Prix that we've seen here on CBS. And remind you, we'll be bringing you more this year. We're looking forward to the French Grand Prix not too far away come July, that marvelous event in the country where it all began. Lead automobile. Villeneuve, let's go to Dan Gurney. Dan?
Jill just made it by. He put it in a nice, easy, lazy sprint car. Skid around the hairpin here, and there he goes towards the checker. Still looking beautiful.
Well, it's marvelous to see a young driver performing so very well. The skills are all there, and you're going to hear so much more about this young man from Canada. Here he is moving up on a back marker at the end, one of the shadow cars, as he comes down onto Ocean Boulevard for the final time. And Canada's anthem will be heard today. This will be the final lap. I think he gave it to you one early. Here he is under a lapped automobile.
And yet even there, Ken, he didn't push DeAngelis too soon. He waited until he had a good, clean shot to get by, made his move in a very intelligent manner. That's the Gilles Villeneuve we're seeing today.
All right, this then would be the final lap. Final lap is being recorded right now on Villeneuve, car number 12, into the hairpin. We'll see what he does as he gets down through. We'll go to Dan Gurney. In this last lap for Gilles Villeneuve. Had the hopes the Canadians all build up about a lap early on this. Here he comes back, probably 150, 160 this time.
At least 170 by the time he reaches the end of the straight, Ken.
Okay, Daniel.
There he comes, last time into the Queen's hairpin. He's not a bit slower. He's demonstrating his mastery of the course today. He has plenty of confidence in his skill, and he's young enough to show it. He's not being conservative even yet. Just great.
Here he is up in the final part of the course, heading to the parking lot. Not stopping to put a nickel in any meter, just whipping right through there. Up the hill, turns onto Ocean Boulevard. Kicks the back end up, gives a little sachet as he comes down. And there's your checkers.
He's enjoying himself today, Ken.
A likable young man from Canada has won the Long Beach Grand Prix, event number 4 in the World Series. On to Spain. He's now won 2 in a row, and he really moves up in the standings. And we'll be back with an interview with the winner here at Long Beach, California, Gilles Villeneuve, in just a matter of moments.
Gelöst. Heute hat er gewonnen und damit die Führung in der Weltmeisterschaft an sich gerissen. 9 Punkte für Villeneuve, 6 für Scheckter, 4 für Alan Jones mit dem Williams. Das ist der Mann, der vor 2 Jahren damals auf einem Shadow den Grand Prix von Österreich gewonnen hat. 3 Punkte für Weltmeister Mario Andretti, der 4. wurde, 2 Punkte für Patrick Depailler, den 5. und 1 Punkt für Jean-Pierre Jarier auf Tyrrell, der so lange an 3. Stelle gelegen ist und dann durch den Boxenstopp weit zurückfiel, sich aber trotzdem noch auf den 6. Platz vorgekämpft hat. Die weitere Reihung: 7. De Angelis, 8. Piquet, 9.
He's just extricated himself from the automobile, and will be going down to Brock Yates with the winner in just a moment. Gilles Villeneuve wins here in North America. He won his own country's Grand Prix a year ago, and it was moved to Montreal. Let's go to Brock Yates.
Ken, we're down here with Gilles. Congratulations. You told me yesterday the car was handling a little bit strangely, but it didn't seem to give you any trouble today.
Well, today was very good. No problem at all.
How about the start? Are you troubled by that? You know, there's some talk that perhaps there'll be a little bit of a penalty. Nothing that'll affect your victory, but perhaps financial. Does that trouble you?
Well, no, it doesn't trouble me at all because I've never seen anything stopping me on that track. So I thought at the last minute maybe they have changed their mind and they decide to make a lap and a half because usually there's a signal and also there's some people down the road.
Gilles Villeneuve hat keine Angst vor irgendeiner Bestrafung, er ist sich nicht der geringsten Schuld bewusst. Er sagt, ich habe das getan, was mich die Leute geheißen haben und das getan, wozu man mich angehalten hat. Meine Damen und Herren, Gilles Villeneuve auf Ferrari gewinnt den Grand Prix von Amerika in Long Beach. Ein Rennen, das für Niki Lauda nur ein paar Sekunden gedauert hat. Er ist kurz nach dem Start mit dem Franzosen Tambay kollidiert und bereits auf dem Heimflug nach Hause. Villeneuve, neuer Führender in der Automobil-Weltmeisterschaft. Nächster Grand Prix am 29. April in Madrid. Carama, und ich sage Ihnen danke fürs Zuschauen und auf Wiedersehen bis zum nächsten Grand Prix in Spanien, hoffentlich für Sie und für uns unter besseren Bedingungen als heute in Long Beach. Guten Abend und gute Nacht.